Reed, hello. So, Stonfo Hook Tyer. Quite a few people ask about these. I know a few of you got them. I know a few people struggle to use them. Quite simple to use, really. There's a few little tips how I use it, and I think it works. I'm sure if you try my little tips, should work for you guys as well. So, obviously, I tie all my own hooks. Do use a few hooks off the shelf, generally for sort of commercial fishing that got bands on, stuff like that. But for 99% of all my fishing, I tie all my own hooks. I can sit at home, rattle them off, put them in a Stonfo box, yeah. So whether I'm pleasure fishing, match fishing, or I can just grab a box, the hooks are already done. So I have these done for river and canal, and I've got a bigger box as well, and then I've got my feeder ones. But it's just simple. I can sit at home and rattle hooks off dead quick. When there's rubbish on TV, I can sit there and just do them. So right, anyway, let's get on with this and show you a few tips on how I use them. Use a Stonfo Hook Tyer, which hopefully will help you. Read a few important things, so try and do the best I can to show you, so you can always ask questions afterwards. Right, 157s, which we were talking about earlier, yeah, little 157s. Well, little 157s, this is a size 12. Alright, so important bit of putting the hook in the Stonfo Hook Tyer. Hopefully you can see that. So Stonfo Hook Tyer, yeah, nice. Obviously you've got the bit on there for doing your loop sizes, which is similar to the hook tyer you can the loop tyer you can get, which is separate. So you can make all your loop sizes. Obviously it's got all your sizes on there for your hook length sizes. You can go massive, you can go really short if you want. These will all be tied to, so for demonstration purposes, if I was putting them in this box, I'm probably doing 15 centimeters, yeah. I actually do slightly less than 15 centimeters on here. These are set at 14.7 because I find that when it goes into the hook box, it keeps it nice and tight in there. It just keeps them nice. I think if you did them near enough bang on 15 centimeters, they're too loose and they can drop out. So just take a little bit off. So it just puts that bit of tension in the line, keeps them nice and straight. Perfect. So hook into the old Stonfo Hook Tyer. Important thing. So when you're putting the hook in the hook tyer, you want the pointy end towards you. So the point end towards me, and then the shank of the hook to the back. So the shank of the hook is towards you. Yeah. So we're putting that in there. We're going to show a bit of the hook point. We more or less want these two pins at the top in line with the shank of the hook. So there'll be a straight line. I'll try and show you this. I'm trying to do this in such a way so there'll be a straight line across there, and it will almost line up with the shank of the hook. Yeah. Don't have to be perfect, for God's sakes, but it's get it somewhere near. So you don't have to show. So just gently tighten that up, yeah. Hopefully you can see that. Try and hold that up to the camera so you can see, yeah. Okie dokie. So we push two pins up, yeah. Right, so that's in line with that. Using, again, demonstration purposes, 014 match team line. As I say, I do get quite small on these. I can go down to 24, but smallest I generally use these days is 22s. 24 used to be the old bloodworm fishing days, really. 07 line, quite happily do 07 line on there, nice fine line, and knowing full well it's not going to kink up. So first things first, obviously nice, simple, you're going to do a loop in the end of the line. I'm sure you all know how to do a simple loop. So we're doing simple loop, pull that through, and then we're going on to the pins to make the loop. So yeah, well, so the loop you're actually going to keep is on the back pin, on the bronze pin, and then the actual knot part. I didn't think I did that right first time round. There we go. There we go. That should be right this time. Right. So the actual knot part goes on the white. So I'm trying to do this, so hopefully you can actually see. And then what we'll do, gently wet that down and then pull that. But obviously always make sure hopefully you got that. Right, so the other important bit is you need to actually come, the line's obviously got to come across the Stonfo and round, so always bring it across the front, because the line has to come off the front of the actual hook and not the back of the hook, because of the way the spade is cranked on spade ended hooks. If it comes off the back, if your line's coming off the back of the hook, it'll cut through it. So we're coming around the front, so my side, round to your side, round that back pin, round again, across the front side, and then towards me, yeah? So the other little tip is, which I find people do, is they don't twist the hook tie the right way around. So if that's that, yeah, got that. And then what we're doing is we're going to turn the hook tyer backwards, so towards you, away from me, towards you. Hook needs, the line needs to sit in the middle of the hook, so between the gape and the shank. Yeah, so sort of hold it down first time round a little bit, just so you can just get that first whip on. Now I put 12 winds on. I find that is just enough to set a nice whipping up the shank of the hook. So we'll go 1, yeah, just working the line up nice and steady, bit of tension in, not too much. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Right, I'll do 1 extra, yeah? So I did get a squeeze here, I can count. Right, so then what we're doing is we're pulling that line around the back. So we're going round the back of that first and then underneath it towards me. Yeah? Wet everything down. So everything's, always keep it damp. You've got to keep those knots damp. Then what we'll do is we'll close that, push that down, which will release the loop off the back. Don't push it all the way down so it's tight. Just push it down. Now I like, I think is another area where people probably get things wrong. I always like to take that loop off at that end. And I can let that unravel and it will just take the spin out of it. Yeah, and then what we're doing is we're going to gently, holding this one tight, pull this side. And it will start to close that loop up. You won't be able to see it on the camera, but when you're actually doing it, you'll see it starts to close it up. It's near enough closed now. And we're going to snip the end off that goes to the spool, put that away. And what we're going to do is just tag that up until it stops. It stops, won't go anymore now. And we're going to release that off of there, and then it will pull the bit of line, tag line through off the end. Yeah, dead simple. So that there is actually effectively whipped on now. I like to just give them a bit of a tag, pull on that tag end, and on that. It should be nicely sat on the front of that hook, which it is. And I also like to just give it another pull on there, and then I know it is nice and tight. So that there, as you can see, let's move you onto there, is nicely whipped on. No idea, you love these hooks, are so damn sharp. So that will hold, we'll cut that tag end off anyway, which is pretty obvious. So you cut the tag end off. That curve in the line is obviously off the spool. This is why I was saying I like to put them in a little bit tighter in the hook box, because over a short period of time that will just start to come off. It'll start to pull out and it will go nice and straight. So when I come to use it, it will start to come out. It's just a bit of memory within that line. So all I want to do now, just cut that tag end off. There we go. Always leave a little bit of a tag. And that is it really. It is, for me, that is perfectly tied. Once it's gone in that hook box and it's holding, it's just took that bit of belt out, it'll be perfect. That's it really. Just take your time, just practice. It's easier to practice with bigger hooks and bigger line, just to get it right. And then once you've got it, you'll be able to rattle hooks off dead easy. I mean, I know this is fairly thick line, but there's no kinks in that. There's no nicks or anything in there at all. It's beautiful. That's come off the front of the hook, which is where it should be. I can't really say any more really for it, other than just make sure you follow it through, make sure you keep the knots, all the bits that you're doing need to be kept damp when you start to tighten things up, because if you start to tighten things up and they're not damp, effectively, I suppose you could say, it burns the monofilament, and that's where you start getting your kinks. So if you remember, when you start, before you start pulling it up, to ping it off there, let it unwind, and it's going to unwind again. If you start, so I've seen people pull it from there and they leave that connected on there and the hook's still in there and pull it, and then it basically kinks a line because it's pulling that twist into the line. So that's it. So I hope that is of some sort of help. So if you want to ask me any questions about it, can do. Hopefully it gives you a bit of idea of how to use the Stonfo Hook Tyer. Well, speak soon. Cheers, guys.